When I tell you no raise could keep me working these jobs, and that's a bold statement. First story, crazy coworker is texting me telling me how much she is interested in me, trying to schedule to meet me after work, even though she knows I'm married and totally not interested. Sounds like someone isn't getting the hint. This story came March 28th, 2017. First of all, sorry, English is not my first language. Don't apologize. It's my first language and I'm terrible at it. So it is as the title says. We work at the same office. She sits on the desk across from mine and is married as well as I am. And recently we've been talking more with each other, but nothing out of the ordinary. I have a good relationship with pretty much everyone here except for Carl. F you, Carl, and your credit stealing habits. All right, well, F you, Carl. Just cheap chat about regular stuff, how the weekend was, look at this funny video, what do you think about this, etc., etc. Then she started texting me, telling me that she is surprised about how easy it is to talk to me and how she enjoys how the conversation just flows. And I was just responding with, cool, me too. You're nice. Last week, I left my car at the auto repair since the brakes started to make a funny noise, and since she lives 2 blocks away from me, where I live, I had asked her for a ride home. We are in traffic going home, talking about regular stuff. Then she brings the subject up again about how nice our conversations have been, and I agree. I have plenty of female friends, so this was not uncommon for me. Then she starts talking about how interesting it is that we have different opinions about stuff, but that we still get along anyways. And I'm like, yeah, sure. This is when I noticed things got effing weird. She then says she started looking at me differently and that she's attracted to me, and she put her hand on my thigh. I thanked her and told her she's nice and good looking, but we're just colleagues. We're both married. I respect her, but I'm not interested. So no way is anything going to happen. The rest of the ride was awkward silence. When I got home, she kept texting me about how we're getting along well and stuff, how she is not in the best moment in her marriage, could have called that, etc. Then I received a lot of Instagram notifications of her mass liking my photos. Girls going through it. Girls got a crush. This is what girls do. And I'm not saying everyone, but where they go and they creep your social media, see what you're all about. We do that. I did that to Matt. Sure did. Thought he was cute. I replied to the text trying not to be rude, saying that maybe she should use her energy and time to resolve the problems that she is having at home instead of this. At this point, I think she is crazy, and the best way to avoid any problems is to just dismiss the crazy stuff she is saying and keep it cool and distant, since we're working together in a 55-person company. She says it's not just physical attraction and that she's jealous and can't stand seeing my wife's post on Instagram with me. Okay, I think this is more than a crush. Red alert! And now she wants to meet me after work or during the lunch break out of the office to talk about things. I haven't told any of this to my wife yet, and I was not planning to do so since she is way too stressed out recently with her job and some problems with her parents. So I would like to know from the almighty and all-knowing Reddit, how, number 1, to avoid this crazy lady getting more crazy and trying to cause problems at work and with my marriage. And wives of Reddit, if you were my wife, would you like me to tell you what's happening or just deal with it? All right, YouTube. We're gonna pretend he's speaking to the people of YouTube and the wives of YouTube. My plan so far is to let her know again that I'm not interested. Just play it cool and dismiss what she is saying, slowly decreasing the number of interactions we have until everything fades into regular coworker stuff. This is interesting so far. Would you want to know? I feel like I would want to know. I don't know. That's really tricky. That's hard to ask me. I feel like I have a very biased opinion because when I was cheated on, it was with someone at their workplace. So maybe don't ask me. I'm curious where you guys are at. We have an update. We have lots of them. This one came 2 weeks later. Since it was the first time this happened to me in such a blunt way, I tried to handle it the best that I could, but I was kind of lost about what to do. So thanks again, your advice really helped me. Following your advice, I got home yesterday. I asked my wife to sit down and I told her what's going on. I showed her all the messages and explained to her in detail what happened. She was really concerned, didn't get mad or anything. She's just worried that, using her words, quote, that bitch would ruin your career and stress you out. So I told her I would talk to my boss and HR the next day, and so I did. I arrived earlier, scheduled a meeting with HR and my boss. He went pale when I told him I'd like to talk with him and HR together, and later he said he thought I was going to quit. I sat down with them, asked them to be prepared for a Mexican soap opera, and then showed them all the messages and explained to them all of what happened. I told them I would like her to be moved to another desk and that I trusted them to discipline her so she would stop harassing me. They listened very quietly, nodding between the sentences and doing quick questions when in doubt. After I finished telling my tale, they said they would call her in to talk and address the subject, and that I could rest assured that they would take all reasonable measures. I went back to my desk, got to work. I was going on a business trip to Mexico the following week, so I'm pretty busy. Then I heard her phone ring. She looked at me with suspicion in her eyes when she got up and went to talk to HR. I tried to avoid eye contact and didn't say anything. How awkward. She's sitting in front and you're just sitting there being like, and she gets a call being like, we need to speak to you in regards of blah, blah, blah. Awkward. 1 hour later, she comes back crying, gets her purse, and leaves. Everybody in the office was just like, WTF just happened. My boss then called me into the office and told me what happened. They told her, I told them what was going on. Then she made a whole dramatic show about it, telling them that she was in love with me and was fighting for what she thought was right, etc. My boss and the HR person dismissed her silly arguments and told her she would need to keep things professional and move to another desk. Otherwise, they would have rescinded the work contract. And she preferred to get fired, so from now on, she no longer works with me. It has been 2 weeks, and so far nothing related to the subject happened, so I guess my life is back to the way I like it, just peace and quiet. Now, we have an edit that he posted a little bit later on the same post. Just got a call from her husband? Apparently, she was crying all weekend and told him on Monday why she was fired. He told her he didn't buy her version of the facts since they contradict herself in several points of her story. He told her to call the company to clarify what happened and now was calling me to just make sure. I told him everything and offered to show him the messages. We are going to meet in an hour for coffee next to the office. He sounded hurt, but very clear-minded. Just told my boss, HR, and my wife that I'm going to meet him, and my boss offered to go with me. Man, I am surrounded by good people. And thank God he is doing the Lord's work. He came back with another edit to the story, because I need to know what happened at this meetup. The next edit. Just came back from the meeting with her husband. It was all very quick. I arrived with my boss. He was waiting for me. I showed him the messages on my phone, answered some questions about what happened, and that was it. He said he just wanted to be sure because she deleted all of her messages. He said this was not the first time something like this happened, and he apologized for everything. He said she was seeing a psychologist in the past, but had stopped going recently. I just said I didn't want anything to do with it, that I came to meet him just to make clear I didn't want any of this to happen, wished him the best, and I left. He just nodded and apologized again as I left. I'm surprised with his reaction. Maybe he doesn't seem too angry because they passed through something similar before. I don't know, and I really don't care. I just had enough drama, and I'm glad this wasn't another one. So let's hope this is the end. And there were no further updates, so I'm assuming this was the end. Hey, interrupting your video to hop on Hydration Station. We are cheersing with some fresh ginger tea. Every time I post, every time I post a picture of my tea on Instagram, people think these are slices of potatoes. It's ginger. Cheers, drink your water. Next story, my boss said I'm threatened by his masculine energy. I'm already annoyed, so yippee for me, this will be fun. This came pretty recently, July 2nd, 2025. I am a millennial woman and my new boss is a Gen X man. We have been butting heads a lot, mostly because I think he lacks the basic skills and competencies to do his job. My frustration has gotten to the point where I feel like screaming most days. This past week, I had to send him yet another email where I tried to politely and professionally explain that he was yet again doing something wrong. I had 2 people read it in one tone before I sent it. This is the opening paragraph to the 10 paragraphs he sent in response. Well, thank God it's just 1. I was not going to read 10, let me tell you. I am said boss. I think you would benefit from learning about the unconscious and the psychological defense of projections and transferences that emanate from the unconscious of a person, especially one with a highly dysregulated nervous system. I am a human being too. I have done it and can do it, still do it at times, and that's why I know about it experientially. It's also why I speak to the need for grace often, as well as accountability. Believe it or not, and that is a literal statement because I really don't think you can believe it at this point in your life, I extend a great deal of grace to you. But that does not mean I'm going to take on crap that you are trying to offload onto me, nor am I going to just be a wallflower as a director of an organization that needs to address its challenges. Because you've been working in an all-female environment for so long, it's quite possible that you and others take the masculine energy that I, at times, emanate as a threat when there is no threat, but you perceive it as so. I'm sorry about that, and I can be mindful of behaviors, but I'm not going to sit in analysis paralysis while we try to adjust to the chaos left behind. Well, safe to say I could never work there because I don't know about 9 words in that paragraph. I don't know what they mean, so I don't even know what I could say back to that. The best part about this email is that he voluntarily CC'd the board chair on it. He tries to paint me as a hysterical, flaky, incompetent woman, which fell flat because I've worked with our chair, a man, for the last 10 plus years. A few weeks prior to this email, I had asked an external project partner if I could use him as a professional reference, as he had nothing but very nice things to say about the work that I've done for him the last 3 plus years. The day after I received this unhinged email from my boss, that project partner called me and asked how my job search was going. I said, not great, and he asked if I wanted to come work with him. We later had a 2-hour-long conversation, and I'm being offered a pay bump and an opportunity to oversee a really awesome project. So now I need to write my resignation letter to my boss. Due to our summer paid time off schedules, I won't actually see my boss for another 2.5 weeks, and I won't be starting my new job until mid-August. When he gets back to the office, I would love to have a polite and professional response composed that burns this man and his masculine, excuse me, all the big words just coming out of me, his masculine energy to the ground. Can you offer me any advice on what to say? P.S. I spoke to an employment attorney, and because our organization has fewer than 15 employees, it's not required to comply with federal anti-discrimination laws. I apparently don't have a lot of legal rights in this instance. While this is bonkers, cuckoo bonkers, I am working to put together additional documentation for the board that I will hopefully inspire them to fire him. Now we have an update. This one came recently, September 4th, 2025, 2 months later. I followed your advice and submitted a 3-sentence resignation letter. It was freeing to try not to craft a longer letter. The new boss made some noise about trying to get me a counter offer to keep me on, but I quickly deflected and moved on. I thought readers would like more context info and an update on what happened after I gave notice. The organization is a nonprofit that provides entrepreneurship training to adults in a specific industry and is heavily reliant on federal and state funding to do the work. Applying for and spending government funding requires knowledge of complex bureaucratic regulations and processes. I've been writing and managing government grants since 2016, and I'm pretty well respected for my work within our niche field. The funding freezes, terminations, and general uncertainty at the federal level have been devastating for my organization and our partners. Besides the fact that the new boss has been the personality of a flaming bag of dog poo, he seems to lack any knowledge of understanding on how to navigate government funding. The board shared the new boss's resume with the staff before he was hired, and he had lots of grant writing and management experience listed. I was initially excited about him because I was looking forward to getting support for all of the administrative headaches that come with government funding. Unfortunately, he frequently behaves as though he's never seen a grant regulation before. Instead of reducing the burden on me, he multiplied it as I had to frequently explain to him why the thing he wanted to do was not allowable. He seems to have memory issues to boot, as I often had to explain the same thing to him multiple times. I never felt like he adequately understood what I was telling him. One of my coworkers described the situation as trying to work for a squirrel with early onset dementia. You could probably say that about me. Actually, you wanna know who has the worst freaking memory ever? Matt. I can look him in the eyes and say something. 5 minutes later, he has no recollection of what I just said. I swear he doesn't listen to me, but he says he just has bad memory. The current board chair, who was CC'd on the boss's email featured previously, has been trying to step down for the last few months. I think this state of transition in leadership is the main factor in new boss not being fired already. I had the exit interview with the current board chair, the treasurer, and a third board member last week. I came with very detailed notes about specific incidents and areas of concern I had about the boss's ability to successfully administer a nonprofit organization. The treasurer especially asked a lot of questions, and it sounds like the financial director has also been raising concerns with them. 2 other coworkers, including the financial director, also submitted notices in the weeks after I put mine in. I honestly don't know at this point if the new boss will get fired or if the board will try to prop him up. I'm on my 4th day at my new job, and I'm starting to care less and less about the situation at my old job. I would be sad if they totally imploded, but it's a giant relief that I'm not there anymore. There is nothing more frustrating when someone, another coworker, or anyone comes in and they're supposed to help your workload, but they actually make it harder for you. Sometimes it's like one of those situations where it's like, I'd rather do it myself, and it'll be faster if I just do it myself than trying to explain to you a million times how to do it properly, you know? Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to work for the woman buying my grandma's flower shop after she trashed me behind my back? A lot of questions here. Let's find out. So my grandma is selling her flower shop. I, male 24, work full-time and run the place since she's gotten remarried. The new buyer has already been a nightmare, and she doesn't even technically own it yet. For the past week, she's been blowing up my phone, constantly asking me to do things for her, even though she doesn't pay me. I even helped her set up her email. On top of that, she's been having me and my grandma do business and tax paperwork that she is supposed to be doing herself. And here's the kicker. When my grandma was trying to get into some files, she accidentally clicked on the search history in her Gmail. It was full of straight adult videos, or as we like to call it, corn. I'm gay, so we know it wasn't me, and searches about the effects of all kinds of illegal substances. Well then, real professional. Anyway, today my coworker had the buyer on speakerphone while she was making an arrangement. Out of nowhere, she starts trash talking me. She said I'm a terrible designer, I'm not all that, and that I don't know anything. And she even called me curse words and horrible names. She also said I wasn't going to be the store manager like she had previously promised, and that she was the boss. Why did you guys sell it to this lady? Like, was she ever nice? I grabbed the phone and I told her I heard every word you said and I'm not happy. A minute later, she called my coworker back and accused her of setting her up when she literally just had her on speakerphone because her hands were full. Then she came into the shop and said, "We need to sort things out. You still have a job." I told her, "There is no sorting it out. You wronged me and I will not be working for someone who talks crap about me behind my back. I have tried to help, but I'm through with you." Her response, quote, "What a load of shite. You helped me by standing over me telling me how to wash buckets. Honey, I've been washing buckets since you were in diapers." She stormed out and said, "That's your words, not mine," to me, saying that I won't be working for her. The thing that hurts the most is that my grandma is more worried about how she reacted than about how this woman was talking to me. She just wants to sell the shop and wash her hands of it, which I understand, I do, but that just leaves me left feeling disrespected and humiliated. Me and my coworker, after all of this happened, cried together and hugged. This lady watched me grow up. I've known her since I was a baby. Oh, you know her? Well, that's even worse. I've known her since I was a baby. Her daughter babysat me. We can't think of a plausible reason for her to say all of this to my coworker in the first place. I am very good at what I do. I have been running the store since Grandma has taken a step back since getting married. She was acting like everything was fine just yesterday, saying that she loves my arrangements and how good this will be. So, am I the a-hole for saying I refuse to work for her after all of this and my last day will be when the keys are handed over, if it even makes it that far? We have an edit that he posted. I'm not looking to buy the shop. I have thought about it in the past. If I inherited the shop, I would run it, but I have no desire to really own it. I don't want to be in this town forever as me and my boyfriend are getting more serious and I would like to be somewhere with more opportunity. It's a small town, y'all. I'm not going to make it big, especially with a huge mortgage out on the place. First and foremost, I have been trained to think profit. I don't think you're the a-hole. How could you work for someone after that? I wouldn't want to work for someone after that, especially if you've grown up with them. Maybe she'll come back and say she had a bad day, she apologizes, she didn't mean the words. Maybe there's a way for resolution, but I don't blame you for not wanting to work for someone like that. Like, who's jumping at the opportunity to be like, that's my boss, can't wait to work hard for you. No thanks. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.